Mr. Al Baker, thank you so much for joining us on Bloomberg Television, and congratulations on the new route to Chiang Mai. Tell us, it's been a very difficult, you could say, a year and a half or so since the last time we met at the Singapore Air Show. Tell us how this new route to Asia, to Chiang Mai, fits into kind of your rescheduling and reformatting of your scope of business, given, of course, the backdrop against the blockade.
Well, as you can see, that Qatar Airways is keeping on launching new flights, new destinations, announcing our future plans. We are not going to slow down. This is exactly what Qatar Airways wants to prove, that the blockade is not going to have any negative impact on the airline vis-a-vis our growth. We will continue to grow. Yes, it will, of course, affect my bottom line, because this was completely unexpected, illegal blockade. However, we are persevering and we are on our march ahead, which will continue and will make people very envious when they see how many new destinations we are announcing in order to defeat our adversaries.
What kind of traffic are you seeing into areas like Asia that are not necessarily affected by the route cutting or the rerouting?
Well, we have been very successful. The Chiang Mai flight of yesterday, which was the first flight, was already more than 87% load factor. So this is a very good news for the airline. And this again shows that when Qatar Airways launches a route, it launches a route not just to show our flag, but to carry passengers on board our airplanes.
Can you give us an update on how the blockade now is affecting your business? Of course, a month ago, you did give a full year, fiscal year profit warning. Are you having to reschedule more flights, cut more routes? Can you give us an update, sir?
We have not cut any routes other than the blockading countries that banned us from operating into those countries. We are keeping on expanding. Of course, I will have to fill in the vacuum that those 19 destinations created, and we have been successfully doing it. We will continue bringing more passengers on board. However, the issue is, like you said, our bottom line will be affected, and we are still giving a profit warning. We will, as a matter of fact, have a very negative year vis-a-vis our bottom line. But as far as passengers numbers are concerned, we are hoping that we will be very close to the number of passengers we carried pre-blockade.
You have more clarity or a number that perhaps you can kind of give us as far as what kind of full year loss you might have? I know the fiscal year previously was 1.97 billion rials in net income, $515 million US profit. How bad is it going to be?
Well, it's going to be bad. I cannot give you a figure. Yes, I know the figure, but I don't want to give it because, you know, in our business, things could change very rapidly, and maybe it could change for the better. You don't know. So I don't want to give warnings before we get to those figures and that we have got our accounts audited. You will get a very clear and transparent news statement from me once we know what the bottom line figure is going to be.
How are you coping with the order backlog? I know you have sold recently 3 777-300 ERs to a leasing company based here in Hong Kong, Bank of China, BOC Aviation. There's 12 more, I believe, 777s you've ordered from Boeing. What are you doing about your order backlog?
Let me be very clear. We are not selling our aeroplanes because of the blockade. We are, as a matter of fact, selling the current option 777s in order to prepare for our 777X aeroplanes that will be delivered to us. So we have to clear the old aircraft. As we have repeatedly said, we want to keep our average age of our fleet depressed to 5 years. So we have to keep on rolling our fleet. And the only way we can roll our fleet is to sell and lease back our older aircraft in order for us to make place for the new aircraft that are on our order book.
Sir, can you give us an assessment from your perch as the head of Qatar Airways, how the Qatari economy is doing? I was reading a story on how the budget deficit is expected actually to decline as the economy there does absorb this blockade. And some have said that perhaps this is really an impetus for a further diversification of the local economy. How do you see it?
Please don't listen to a lot of fake news that our adversaries keep on putting out about our economic performance. The economic performance of my country is robust, and the diversification and investments and the expansion of the economy will continue over the next years.
How do you see this resolving, sir? I know Kuwait has tried to lead or at least mediate some sort of resolution. Are we any closer or further apart, given the troubles that we've also seen in Riyadh?
I would rather you ask me about Qatar Airways than ask me political questions. You know, I'm not a politician, sure. So these are not the questions that I am privy to be able to answer to you correctly.
Okay, understood, sir. Let's talk about the 9.6% stake you did take in Cathay Pacific. How do you see this furthering your plans to gain access into mainland China?
As a matter of fact, it is now over 9.9%. Secondly, yes, we want to have a strategic relationship with Cathay. Cathay is one of the best airlines. It is a 5-star rated airline like us. It has huge potential to growth. Yes, they have difficulties for the time being, but you know, as you are already based in Hong Kong, that they have a very robust plan to restructure their business, and I'm sure that Cathay Pacific is going to continue its march towards huge success in that very important economic area of the globe.
Yeah, I met Mr. Hogg, the CEO, and also Chairman Slozar yesterday, in fact, and did talk about this partnership. They're equally excited. Tell me, though, what you're hearing within the One World Alliance, though, because there's rumblings that perhaps China Southern, which is the great rival across the border here in Guangzhou, might leave, of course, SkyTeam and come to One World. There's even talk that maybe Cathay is considering Star Alliance. What would this do to One World, which you're a part of, and also you are having that nearly 10% stake in Cathay?
You know, once you look at passenger numbers, it wouldn't make a big dent on One World if Cathay decided to leave and China Eastern decided to come. However, I want to re-stress again to you that Cathay is not going to leave One World, and China Southern, when it joins One World, will be another feather in the hat of the One World Alliance. So I'm very delighted you are giving me a very good news. I always wanted to hear news that one of the Chinese carriers will join our alliance.
Well, how about the possibility of increasing your stake in Cathay Pacific? Is that something you would like to buy more shares of?
No, at the moment we have no intention to go over the stated goal that we already have in mind. We will not go beyond the 10% mark in Cathay for the time being.
Are you
what
having
happens
any
in the future?
discussions
Of course, I cannot say, because you know the aviation market is very fluid at times, and when there are opportunities, and when we can do it without disrupting the shareholding of Air China and the Swire Group, then yes, we will be interested.
Are there any other airlines you're having discussions to have similar kinds of partnerships? What we're seeing of late in the aviation industry is more tie-ups beyond just the alliance partnerships. You have what, of course, Air France, KLM, and Jet Airways, which is also 24% owned by Etihad. They are having an expanded partnership. Do you see the scope, and are you having the discussions to have these kinds of discussions with airlines where you can have other airlines where you can have maybe joint purchases of fuel or other components? What are you looking at?
Well, I will only do that joint purchases in fuel and other services only with airlines that I have stake in or airlines that are part of the One World. I would not like to join anybody else in doing any such deals. And asking me about what my plans are in investing in other airlines, I never share with things that is in my brain with anybody when it really happens. When it happens, then we will tell you.
All right, when it happens, I hope you'll come right to Bloomberg Television and give us your news. Could you give us, generally speaking, again, we've talked about the headwinds that we faced and the tailwinds that you might get from these new routes, but what is your general outlook for 2018?
Aviation market will definitely grow. IATA has published figures which shows a very robust growth in air travel. And we in Qatar Airways would like to take a share of that pie. And we will do it in a way with style, because in Qatar Airways, you can, the passengers can only expect the best in the travel experience.
And what's the biggest risk, sir?
The risk will always be there. Every business has a risk. The oil price, a huge decline in the economic outlook of the world, which always affects airlines. Airlines are very cyclical, and there could be small movements here and there which affect the traveling passengers. But I hope that this will not happen, because I see that there is a very positive economic outlook, unless, again, some crazy individual does some crazy thing, and then it affects the economic outlook of the world.
All right, we're getting some projections on oil prices, maybe in 2018, hovering between the late $50 and the higher $60. Is that a range you'd be comfortable for jet kerosene?
Yes, we will be very comfortable at that range. But of course, as my country is a very large hydrocarbon and gas producer, I hope that the prices will go between 65 and 70.
Akbar Al Baker, I really appreciate your time, and congratulations again on the route to Chiang Mai. I wish you best success.
Thank you very much.